Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time, way back to a world that's often imagined as nothing but horned helmets and brutal raids. But trust me, there's so much more to it than that. Forget everything you think you know about Viking women for a moment, because tonight you're going to live it. You'll be walking in their shoes, feeling the bite of the Scandinavian wind, and smelling the wood smoke curling from a longhouse hearth. It's a life of incredible hardship, sure, but also one of surprising resilience, influence, and sometimes even power. It's a world where you're constantly adapting, whether it's to the harsh seasons or the unpredictable arrival of a longship on the horizon. A little heads up, though, if you were dropped into this era without any prep, you'd probably last about 5 minutes. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, if you're listening, drop a comment below and let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You feel the chill in the air, a familiar companion in this land of long winters. It's early morning, and the first rays of the sun, still weak and hesitant, begin to paint the eastern sky in hues of pale pink and gray. You're already up, of course. There's no sleeping in when the chickens need feeding, the fire needs stoking, and the children still nestled in their furs will soon be stirring. This is your world, a Viking settlement nestled deep within a fjord where the mountains rise steeply on either side, their peaks dusted with the lingering snows of last season, even as summer tries to assert itself. Your home is a longhouse, a sturdy structure of timber and turf, its roof covered with sod that provides insulation against the biting cold and the summer heat. Inside, it's a single large room, shared with your family, your livestock in a separate section, their warmth adding to the ambient heat. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke from the central hearth, where a perpetual fire crackles its embers, glowing like a watchful eye in the semi-darkness. This hearth isn't just for warmth. It's the heart of your home, the place where meals are cooked. Stories are told and tools are mended. You move with an easy familiarity and your hands calloused from years of work. Your movements economical and efficient. There's no wasted effort here. Every action has a purpose, every minute counts. The rhythm of your life is dictated by the seasons, by the rise and fall of the sun, and by the constant demands of survival. Spring brings the promise of new life, the arduous task of planting crops in the stubbornly rocky soil. Summer means long hours in the fields, harvesting what you've sown and preparing for the lean months ahead. Autumn is a flurry of preserving food, salting meat, drying fish, and brewing ale. And winter, oh, winter is a time for indoor crafts, for mending and making, for the quiet camaraderie of family, and for the hopeful anticipation of spring's return. You understand this cycle instinctively woven into the very fabric of your being. It's a relentless pace, yes, but it's also deeply satisfying in its tangible outcomes. You see the fruits of your labor quite literally every day. Your clothing, though seemingly simple, is practical and well suited to the environment. Layers of wool and linen, often homespun and hand-dyed, keep you warm and protected. A long shift and overdress fastened with distinctive brooches at the shoulders and perhaps a cloak for outdoor work. These brooches aren't just decorative. They're often intricate pieces of metalwork, sometimes indicating your status or wealth. You might even have a small knife tucked into your belt, a ubiquitous tool for countless daily tasks from cutting thread to preparing food. The practicality of your attire reflects the practicality of your life. Every item serves a purpose built to endure. You step outside the crisp morning air, invigorating your lungs. The village is slowly waking. You hear the distant bleating of sheep, the lowing of cattle, and the occasional shouts of men preparing for a fishing trip or a hunting expedition. Your gaze sweeps over the fjord, its dark waters reflecting the pale sky, and then up to the surrounding landscape. It's beautiful undeniably, but also harsh and unforgiving. This land demands respect, and it demands constant effort to coax a living from it. As you begin your chores, perhaps fetching water from the nearby well, or tending to the small garden patch, your mind wanders. You think of your mother, who taught you everything you know about managing a household, about herbal remedies for common ailments, and about the intricate art of weaving. You think of your grandmother, whose stories of ancient gods and heroic sagas still echo in your mind, whispered by the crackling fire on long winter nights. The knowledge passed down through generations of women is vital, a living library of survival and wisdom. You are a link in this chain, and you feel the weight and the honor of that responsibility. One of the less glamorous but absolutely essential tasks for you is the preparation of food. It's not just about cooking, it's about resourcefulness and preservation. You're not popping to the local supermarket after all. You're working with what the land and the sea provide. This means endless hours of grinding grain for flour, a physically demanding task that often falls to the women. You might spend a significant part of your morning preparing a simple porridge or stew, making sure there's enough to feed your family for the day, and carefully managing your stores of dried meat, fish, and vegetables. There's a particular smell that often permeates your home, a mix of smoke-stale cooking fats and the earthy aroma of stored root vegetables. It's the scent of survival. You learn early on the importance of economy. Nothing goes to waste. Scraps of leather are mended, worn-out tools are repurposed, and even animal bones are used for crafting needles or combs. This ingrained frugality isn't a choice. It's a necessity. You're constantly evaluating your resources, planning for the lean times, making sure your family has enough to eat and enough to wear. It's a constant mental ledger balancing needs against available supplies. The longhouse, while providing shelter, also presents its own challenges. The smoke from the central hearth can be stifling, and the air, especially in winter, can be thick and heavy. You learn to live with it, your eyes growing accustomed to the dimness and the smoky haze. Privacy is a luxury you rarely experience. Your life is lived in close quarters with your family, a constant stream of activity and interaction. Yet there's a comfort in this shared existence, a collective sense of purpose. As the morning progresses, you might turn your attention to textile production. This is a cornerstone of your daily life and an area where women hold significant expertise and control. From shearing sheep to cleaning and carding the wool, to spinning it into yarn on a drop spindle and finally to weaving it into cloth on an upright loom. It's a labor-intensive process that demands skill and patience. The rhythmic clack of the loom is a common sound in many Viking homes, a testament to the continuous work of creating clothing, blankets, and sails. Indeed, the quality of a woman's weaving could be a source of considerable pride and even an indicator of her household's prosperity. You might spend hours each day at the loom, your fingers flying, creating intricate patterns or sturdy practical fabric. It's monotonous work, yet deeply satisfying, as you see the raw wool transform into something useful and beautiful. Perhaps your fingers ache, but the thought of the family needing new tunics for winter or a fresh blanket for the children spurs you on. You often work alongside other women in the village, sharing techniques, gossiping, and finding solidarity in your shared tasks. These informal gatherings are important social hubs, places where news is exchanged and community bonds are strengthened. It's not just about the work, it's about the connection. Beyond the everyday chores, you also play a crucial role in the health and well-being of your family. You are the primary caregiver for your children, teaching them the skills they will need to survive, nurturing them and tending to their various scrapes and illnesses. You possess a practical knowledge of herbal medicine, understanding which plants can soothe a fever, heal a wound, or ease the pain of childbirth. This knowledge is passed down from mother to daughter, a vital part of your family's resilience. You might gather specific herbs from the surrounding forests, carefully drying them and storing them for later use. There's no doctor to call upon. You are the healer, the nurse, and the protector of your family's health. It's a heavy responsibility, but one you shoulder with quiet determination. In addition to your practical skills, you are also the custodian of tradition and lore. You tell your children the stories of Odin and Thor, of Freya and Frigg, passing down the rich tapestry of Norse mythology and sagas. These tales are not just entertainment. They are moral lessons, historical narratives, and a way to connect with the spiritual world. You sing the ancient songs, keeping alive the melodies and words that bind your community to its ancestors. You teach your daughters about honor, courage, and the importance of family loyalty. Your influence on the next generation is profound, shaping their understanding of their world and their place within it. The concept of honor is paramount in Viking society, and it applies to women just as much as to men. Your reputation and that of your family is fiercely protected. You are expected to be strong, resourceful, and capable. Weakness is not tolerated, and idleness is a luxury few can afford. You understand that your actions reflect not just on yourself, but on your entire household. This constant pressure to uphold honor shapes many of your decisions and interactions. It's a society where respect is earned, not given. Sometimes a trading ship might arrive in the fjord bringing goods from distant lands. This is an exciting event, a chance to glimpse items you rarely see: fine fabrics, exotic spices, or perhaps even intricate silverwork. While the men might handle the larger transactions, you, as the mistress of the household, are often involved in the smaller bartering, exchanging your surplus wool or butter for something your family needs. It's a brief window into a wider world, a reminder that your isolated community is part of a larger network of trade and exchange. These moments break the monotony of daily life, offering a fleeting glimpse of the bustling, wider world. You might also be responsible for managing the household finances, such as they are. This could involve overseeing the stores of food, deciding what to trade, and ensuring that your family's resources are wisely used. While men might be off raiding or trading, it is often the women who keep the home economy running, making crucial decisions about the allocation of resources. This practical management skill is essential for survival and is a clear indicator of your importance within the household structure. The concept of property in Viking society is complex, and for women it often offers more rights than you might expect for the era. While a woman generally couldn't initiate a lawsuit, she could represent herself in court for certain matters, especially concerning her dowry or inherited property. Historians still debate whether Viking women had true legal autonomy over their property, or if it was more a matter of practical household management within a patriarchal structure. However, the evidence suggests that women often retained ownership of their dowries even after marriage, and widows could inherit and manage their deceased husband's estates. This meant that a woman, particularly a widow, could hold significant economic power and influence within her community. One fascinating and perhaps unexpected detail about your life is the potential for religious devotion beyond the traditional Norse gods. While the Aesir and Vanir are central to your spiritual world, there's evidence that early Christian influences, perhaps through trade or contact with captured slaves, might have trickled into some Viking communities even before the widespread conversion. You might hear whispers of a different god, a single all-powerful deity, a concept that feels both alien and intriguing. These whispers are rare and perhaps viewed with suspicion, but they are there, a subtle current beneath the surface of your ancient beliefs. The social structure, while seemingly rigid, also has moments of surprising fluidity. A woman of strong character or one from a particularly wealthy family could command respect and influence far beyond her domestic duties. You might observe a powerful chieftainess known for her wisdom and counsel, or a skilled seeress whose pronouncements are taken seriously by all. These women are exceptions, perhaps, but they serve as reminders that capability and personality can sometimes transcend traditional gender roles. It's a nuanced society, far more complex than the simple narratives often presented. You pause for a moment, looking out at the sun now higher in the sky. The day stretches ahead, full of tasks and responsibilities. But as you work, you also carry within you the knowledge of your strength, your resilience, and your indispensable role in this challenging but vibrant world. You are not just a woman, you are a Viking woman, and that means you are a force to be reckoned with. Your world, as you know, revolves around the Longhouse. It's not just a dwelling, it's the beating heart of your existence, a living entity that shelters your family, your livestock, and countless generations of shared experiences. You spend the vast majority of your time here meticulously managing its rhythm and ensuring its survival. The structure itself is a marvel of practicality and indigenous engineering. Imagine heavy timber frames, often made from oak or pine, supporting a roof of turf that's thick enough to host grazing animals in some cases. The walls are typically wattle and daub, interwoven branches plastered with a mix of clay straw and animal dung, or in colder regions, thick layers of stone or earth. It's a design perfected over centuries, a testament to the ingenuity of your ancestors in the face of a harsh northern climate. The sheer effort required to build and maintain such a structure is immense, often a communal endeavor, but once it stands, it is a fortress against the elements. Inside, the central feature, as always, is the hearth. It's more than just a fireplace. It's the community gathering point, the source of warmth, light, and sustenance. Smoke, if the wind isn't cooperating, can be a constant companion, stinging your eyes and coating everything in a fine layer of soot. But you've grown accustomed to it, just as you've grown accustomed to the dim light filtering in from the small smoke vent in the roof, or the occasional window opening which would likely be covered with stretched animal bladder, or a simple wooden shutter to keep out the drafts. There are no chimneys as you know them. The smoke is simply allowed to rise and hopefully exit. This is why the interior of your longhouse often has a distinct smoky aroma, a smell that is inextricably linked with home. Your days are a constant dance between essential domestic duties and the quieter yet significant influence you wield within your household. You are quite literally the keeper of the flame. It's your responsibility to ensure the fire never goes out, a task far more critical than it might sound. A dying fire means a cold home, no cooked food, and the arduous process of relighting it using flint and steel or even more primitively with a fire drill. This constant vigilance speaks volumes about your role as the central manager of resources and comfort. You're not just cooking meals, you're orchestrating the very essence of survival. The preparation of food is a monumental undertaking, demanding most of your waking hours. You don't have the luxury of imported spices or a diverse array of fresh produce year-round. Your diet is largely dictated by what can be grown, hunted, or fished locally and what can be preserved for the long winter months. Imagine spending hours grinding grain on a quernstone, the rhythmic crunch of stone against grain a constant soundtrack to your day. This could be barley or rye, which you'd then use to bake flatbreads on a griddle over the fire, or to make thick, sustaining porridges. The aroma of freshly baked bread, even a simple unleavened one, is a rare treat and a sign of a well-managed larder. Meat, when available, is often dried, smoked, or salted to preserve it. You're adept at the processes of butchering, understanding how to make the most of every animal. Nothing is wasted. Bones become tools. Fat is rendered for lamps or cooking, and hides are tanned for clothing or shelter. Fish, especially in coastal areas, is a staple. You might spend days drying cod or herring on wooden racks outside the salty scent permeating the air. Berries foraged from the surrounding forest are also dried or fermented to make a crude form of wine or ale. You're constantly thinking ahead, calculating the needs of your family against the diminishing stores, making sure there's enough to last until the next harvest or hunting season. It's a constant logistical puzzle, and you are the master solver. But your influence extends far beyond the cooking pot. As the mistress of the household, you manage the considerable resources of your family. This includes not only food stores, but also textiles, tools, and even the labor of any thrall slaves or younger family members. You decide what needs to be made, what needs to be repaired, and how resources should be allocated. If a trade is to be made with a passing merchant, you might be the one determining what can be spared and what is needed in return. This level of economic control within the domestic sphere gives you a surprising degree of autonomy, especially when compared to women in many other contemporary societies. Consider the craft of textile production. This isn't just a hobby, it's a critical industry, and it's almost entirely the domain of women. From the initial processing of raw wool, cleaning, carding, and spinning it into thread using a drop spindle, to the complex art of weaving on an upright loom, every step is labor-intensive and requires considerable skill. You spend countless hours at the loom, your fingers deftly manipulating the threads, creating the sturdy, warm woolens that clothe your family. The intricate patterns you weave, often geometric or animalistic, are not just decorative. They can signify status, origin, or even carry symbolic meaning. The quality of your weaving is a source of immense pride, and a well-made cloak or tunic is a testament to your industriousness. The archaeological record, with its rich finds of loom weights and spindle whorls in almost every Viking settlement, strongly suggests that textile production was a core economic activity for women. You might also be skilled at dyeing fabrics using natural pigments extracted from plants' roots, or even lichens transforming plain wool into vibrant hues of red, blue, or yellow. This process is time-consuming and often requires extensive knowledge of local flora. Beyond the domestic realm, your social life is often centered around the community of women. You gather with your female kin and neighbors not just for shared work, like communal spinning or grinding, but also for storytelling, gossip, and the exchange of knowledge. These are vital social bonds providing support, companionship, and a network of shared experience. You learn from the elders, share advice with your peers, and teach the younger generation the skills they will need. This informal mentorship is crucial in a society where knowledge is primarily transmitted orally and through practical demonstration. You also play a crucial role in the religious and spiritual life of your household. While male chieftains and priests might conduct public rituals, it is often the women who maintain the household altars, offer daily prayers to the gods and goddesses, and ensure the proper observance of small rituals for protection or prosperity. You might leave offerings of food or ale to the household spirits, the Vetter, who are believed to reside in the land, and protect your home. You understand the importance of maintaining good relations with these unseen forces, as they can bring good fortune or misfortune. You might even possess knowledge of cider, a form of Norse magic or shamanism traditionally associated with women. While not every woman would be a vulva seeress, the basic principles of fate and destiny, of curses and blessings, are part of your worldview. This connection to the spiritual realm gives you a unique form of power and influence, even if it's often subtle and domestic. Think about the long winter nights. The outside world is shrouded in darkness and ice, but inside the longhouse, the fire casts dancing shadows and the air is filled with stories. These are the moments when your role as a storyteller comes to the fore. You might recount the heroic deeds of legendary figures, the humorous escapades of trickster gods, or the somber sagas of family feuds and epic voyages. These stories are not just for entertainment. They are the history books, the moral guides, and the cultural touchstones of your people. You pass down the traditions, the values, and the collective memory of your ancestors, ensuring that the next generation understands who they are and where they come from. It's a powerful act, shaping the minds and hearts of your children through the power of narrative. You are also the primary caregiver and educator for your children. From the moment they are born, often with the assistance of other women in the community, they are your responsibility. You teach them practical skills: how to gather berries, identify edible plants, tend to animals, and perform basic chores. You instill in them the values of hard work, courage, and loyalty. You teach them about their lineage, about their place in the family and the community. This early education is vital as it lays the foundation for their entire lives, in a world where survival depends on practical knowledge and strong character. The bond with your children is incredibly strong, forged in the crucible of shared challenges and triumphs. While the men of your household might embark on dangerous raiding expeditions or long-distance trading voyages, your role in their absence is critical. You become the sole manager of the farm, overseeing the thralls, protecting the livestock, and maintaining the household. This period of absence can be lengthy and uncertain, filled with anxiety about their return. But it also presents an opportunity for you to demonstrate your leadership and resourcefulness. You might find yourself making difficult decisions, arbitrating disputes within the household, or defending your property against opportunistic neighbors. This experience solidifies your position as a capable and indispensable member of the family unit, often earning you the respect of the wider community. Even in moments of conflict or tension within the household, you as the wife and mother often play a crucial role in maintaining harmony. You might act as a mediator between quarreling siblings or offer counsel to your husband during difficult times. Your emotional intelligence and ability to manage interpersonal dynamics are just as important as your practical skills. You are the emotional anchor of the home, providing stability and comfort in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable. This softer yet no less vital aspect of your role ensures the psychological well-being of your family. Life in the longhouse is lived in close quarters with little privacy. Everyone sleeps in communal sleeping areas, often on raised platforms covered with furs. The sounds of daily life are constant: the murmur of voices, the crackle of the fire, the rustling of straw, and the breathing of sleeping bodies. Yet within this communal living, you find your own small moments of solitude, perhaps early in the morning before everyone wakes, or late at night, after everyone is asleep, simply sitting by the dying embers of the fire, reflecting on the day. These are precious moments, allowing you to recharge and prepare for the demands of another dawn. One of the more unique aspects of your daily life, something often overlooked in popular culture, is the sheer variety of roles you might undertake, depending on your specific circumstances. While the basic domestic tasks are universal, a wealthy woman might oversee a large household with many thralls dedicating more time to crafts or managing trade. A woman in a more remote area might be even more self-sufficient, relying entirely on her own skills for survival. There's no single Viking woman experience. Instead, there's a spectrum of lives shaped by geography, wealth, and individual temperament. Scholars continue to debate the extent to which women in different social strata experienced varying degrees of freedom and influence, particularly in their ability to participate in the broader economy beyond the household. Some suggest a greater fluidity than previously assumed, while others maintain that legal and social structures inherently limited women's public roles. Consider for a moment the surprising lightness of a joke amidst the grinding labor. Perhaps a neighbor weary from spinning tells a humorous tale of a clumsy goat or a chieftain's embarrassing mishap. Laughter, even a quiet chuckle, is a precious commodity. Or maybe when attempting to milk a particularly stubborn cow, you accidentally get splashed, prompting a good-natured groan and a shared laugh with your children. Even in a world defined by hardship, moments of levity are essential tiny sparks that keep the human spirit from being extinguished. And perhaps late at night, as the longhouse settles into a quiet hum, you might hear the low, rumbling snores of your husband, so utterly predictable that it's almost endearing, prompting a small private smile. These small moments of shared humanity, of connection and simple joy, are the fabric of your life, making the hard work bearable. Your hands in particular tell the story of your life. They are strong, nimble, and scarred. They know the feel of rough wool, the bite of an axe, handle the warmth of a child's skin, and the comforting weight of a spindle. They are the tools through which you weave your existence, literally and figuratively. Every cut, every callus is a testament to your unwavering dedication to your family and your survival. They are the hands of a woman who shapes her world, one meticulous, purposeful action at a time. This constant engagement with physical tasks ensures that you are incredibly fit and resilient, able to withstand the rigors of a challenging environment. The longhouse, then, is not just a building, it is your universe. It is where you nurture life, create sustenance, preserve knowledge, and maintain the very fabric of your society. It is a place of endless work, but also of deep connection, warmth, and the quiet power that comes from being indispensable. Your hands, always busy, are a testament to your place in this rugged world. As you move through your days, whether it's at the loom or by the hearth, you're not confined to just the domestic sphere. Oh no. You, the Viking woman, are a vital cog in the larger machinery of society, extending your influence far beyond the traditional confines of the home. This isn't some romanticized notion. It's a practical reality born of necessity and opportunity, in a society that, while patriarchal, often valued capability over rigid gender roles, especially when it came to survival and prosperity. Imagine a brisk morning down by the fjord, the air sharp with the scent of salt and pine. You might find yourself haggling with a passing merchant who has sailed his Nar, a type of Viking trading ship, into your bay. He's brought exotic goods, perhaps amber from the Baltic, fine silks from Byzantium, or even a few silver arm rings. You're not just an observer, you're an active participant in this trade. While your husband or male relatives might handle the large-scale bartering of furs or iron, you're often responsible for smaller yet equally crucial transactions. You might be trading your surplus wool, meticulously spun and woven, or perhaps some carefully preserved butter or cheese for a much-needed tool, a piece of jewelry, or even a rare spice that will elevate your family's meals from mere sustenance to something more flavorful. Your keen eye for quality and your shrewd sense of value are highly prized. You understand the ebb and flow of goods, the subtle art of negotiation, and the importance of securing the best possible deal for your household. This active participation in commerce gives you a direct link to the outside world, making you aware of distant lands and diverse cultures, even if you never journey there yourself. Your connection to trade isn't just about what you buy or sell, it's about what you produce. As mentioned, textile production is almost exclusively a female domain, and it's a massive industry in the Viking Age. The woolens you spin and weave aren't just for your family's clothing. They are a highly valued commodity. High-quality wool fabric known as vadmal served as a form of currency in some regions, accepted as payment for goods and services. So, as you sit at your loom, the rhythmic clack of the shuttle a soothing sound. You're not just making clothes, you're creating wealth. You are, in essence, a skilled artisan, contributing directly to your family's economic standing and the broader economy of your community. Think of the hours, the sheer physical exertion that goes into transforming raw fleece into a marketable length of cloth. It's a monumental achievement day after day. Beyond textiles, you might also be involved in other crafts. Perhaps you're skilled in leatherwork tanning hides and crafting soft, durable bags or pouches. Or maybe you possess a particular talent for bone carving, creating intricate combs, needles, or small decorative items. These skills are not merely hobbies, they are practical ways to supplement your family's income or to create essential items that cannot be easily acquired through trade. Your hands are always busy, always creating, always contributing. Consider too your role in agriculture. While men might handle the heavy plowing or hunting, women are deeply involved in the day-to-day management of the farm. You oversee the livestock, the milking of cows, the tending of sheep, the care of chickens. You are responsible for the kitchen garden, cultivating herbs, root vegetables, and other essential crops. You know the best times for planting and harvesting the signs of a healthy crop and how to preserve the bounty for the winter. Your knowledge of local flora and fauna is extensive, learned through generations of practical experience. You are in essence an agronomist, a veterinarian, and a master gardener all rolled into one. The successful yield of your farm, and thus your family's survival, depends heavily on your expertise and tireless labor. And then there's the less visible but equally potent influence you exert through your social connections and strategic alliances. Marriages in Viking society are often not just about love. They are about forging alliances between families and strengthening social bonds. As a woman, you are often a crucial piece in these political maneuvers. Your marriage might elevate your family's status, secure new trading partners, or even end a long-standing feud. Once married, you play a key role in maintaining these alliances through hospitality, gift-giving, and nurturing relationships with your extended kin. Historians still debate the true extent of agency women had in choosing their marriage partners, with some scholars arguing for more individual choice than traditionally believed, while others emphasize the overriding importance of family interests. Nevertheless, your role in consolidating power and maintaining peace between families is undeniable. Your power isn't always overt. Sometimes it's expressed through your role as a housewife, husfreyja, a term that carries far more weight than its modern equivalent. The husfreyja is the undisputed mistress of the household, with authority over all its domestic affairs, including servants and thralls. She holds the keys to the food chest, symbolizing her control over the family's provisions and wealth. This isn't just symbolic. It translates into real power over the daily lives of everyone under her roof. You manage the resources, supervise the labor, and ensure the smooth running of what is essentially a small, self-sufficient economic unit. Your decisions, though, made within the confines of the Longhouse, have far-reaching implications for your family's prosperity and survival. Imagine a scene where a dispute arises among the thralls, perhaps over work assignments, or a perceived slight. As the husfreyja, you are the one to whom they appeal. Your judgment is final. You might administer discipline, mediate a quarrel, or dole out rewards based on performance. This daily exercise of authority sharpens your leadership skills and earns you the respect or perhaps fear of those under your charge. You are in essence a manager, a judge, and a leader, all within the bustling confines of your home. Even in legal matters, your voice, while not always heard in public assemblies, could carry weight. Women, particularly those of high status or those who were widowed, could own land, engage in business, and even represent themselves in certain legal disputes concerning property or dowry. While men dominated the thing assemblies where laws were made and disputes settled your ability to manage property and inherit wealth, meant you had a tangible stake in the legal framework. Your influence might be exerted through male relatives, but your underlying rights were a cornerstone of your social standing. One particularly fascinating and often overlooked aspect of women's influence is their role as keepers of oral tradition and family sagas. Before widespread literacy, the stories of your ancestors, the deeds of your kin, and the laws and customs of your people were passed down verbally. You as a woman often played a crucial role in transmitting this vital knowledge to the next generation. You would recite the sagas, teach the children the genealogies, and explain the complex web of kinship that defined your society. This gave you immense power over the collective memory and identity of your family. You were, in essence, a living library, ensuring that the wisdom and history of your people endured. Consider the role of hospitality. As the mistress of the Longhouse, you are responsible for welcoming guests, whether they are visiting kin, traveling merchants, or even unexpected strangers. Providing food, drink, and shelter to visitors is not just a matter of politeness. It is a fundamental social obligation that strengthens alliances and maintains one's honor. Your skill in managing resources ensures that you can always offer a fitting welcome, no matter how humble. A well-received guest can bring news trade opportunities or reinforce crucial social bonds. Your reputation for hospitality enhances your family's standing in the community. In some rare but historically attested cases, women even took on more overtly public roles. There are accounts of rune masters who were women inscribing powerful runic messages on stones or artifacts. There are also sagas that speak of chieftainesses or women who led their households and even participated in raiding, though this was certainly not the norm. Academics continue to vigorously debate the true historical prevalence of female warriors, often relying on interpretations of archaeological finds like the Birka grave, which was once thought to be a female Viking warrior, but has since been re-evaluated. Nevertheless, the existence of such stories, even if exaggerated, suggests a societal openness to capable women, occupying positions of power that might be surprising to modern observers. It underscores the pragmatic nature of Viking society, where ability often trumped rigid gender expectations when circumstances demanded it. Imagine a moment of pure, unadulterated chaos in the Longhouse. Perhaps a goat has somehow wandered in, decided to sample the freshly spun wool, and now you're chasing it around the central hearth, shouting in exasperation while the children shriek with laughter. Or maybe while attempting to explain a complex weaving technique, you hopelessly tangle your own threads, forcing you to step back and begin again, with a self-deprecating sigh, earning a sympathetic chuckle from your apprentice. Even in a society where strength and stoicism are valued, there are moments where the sheer absurdity of life breaks through and a shared laugh is the only appropriate response. And when your usually stern mother-in-law, after observing your meticulous work on a new loom, gives a rare approving nod and a mumbled compliment. That small gesture of recognition feels like a profound victory, a tiny burst of warmth in the usually demanding rhythm of your days. So you see, your life isn't lived in isolation. Your days are intricately woven into the economic, social, and even political fabric of your community. You are a producer of wealth, a manager of resources, a guardian of tradition, and a vital link in the chain of family alliances. Your influence, though often exerted from within the Longhouse, radiates outwards, shaping the world around you in profound and undeniable ways. You are far more than just a wife or a mother. You are a force within the Viking world. As the sun rises over the familiar peaks surrounding your fjord, painting the sky in soft hues of gray and pink, your thoughts turn, as they often do, to the intricate tapestry of relationships that define your life. In the Viking Age, love, marriage, and law are interwoven in ways that might surprise a modern mind, offering you, a woman, a unique blend of protections, duties, and sometimes even remarkable freedoms that were largely unheard of in many other parts of medieval Europe. It's a delicate balance where societal expectations meet individual agency, and where the strength of your character often dictates your standing. Let's talk about marriage. For many women in this era, marriage is less about romantic love in the modern sense, and more about a strategic alliance between two families. It's a pragmatic arrangement designed to strengthen kin groups, secure property, and ensure the continuation of the family line. Your parents or guardians would likely arrange your marriage carefully, considering the social standing, wealth, and reputation of your prospective husband's family. This isn't to say that affection couldn't grow over time. Indeed, many sagas speak of deep and abiding love between spouses. But the initial impetus for the union often lay in practical considerations. You might meet your husband for the first time on your wedding day, or perhaps you've known him since childhood within your community. Regardless, the decision is a momentous one, shaping the course of your entire life. The wedding ceremony itself, while varying by region and wealth, would likely involve a series of rituals designed to bind the two families together. There would be feasting exchanges of gifts and solemn oaths. A key element is the dowry you bring to the marriage. Unlike many other societies where a dowry became the husband's property in Viking society, your dowry or Heimoffer home gift often remained your own. This could include land livestock, precious goods like jewelry or household items. This retention of personal property is a significant legal right, providing you with a degree of economic independence and security within your marriage. Should the marriage end through death or divorce, your dowry typically reverted to you or your family. This legal protection is a powerful, if quiet, assertion of a woman's economic standing. Historians generally agree that Viking women had more robust property rights than their counterparts in many contemporary European societies, though the specific application of these laws could vary by region and individual circumstances. Once married, your role as wife and mistress of the household Husfreyja is clearly defined. You are expected to manage the domestic sphere, overseeing the daily chores, the preparation of food, the textile production, and the care of children and any thralls. Your husband, as the husbandi or master of the house, is responsible for the farm trade and external matters. However, this division of labor isn't rigid. You might advise your husband on important decisions, and he might assist with tasks around the home. It's a partnership, albeit one with clear roles built on mutual respect and interdependence. The success of the household depends on both of you fulfilling your duties diligently. You are, in essence, the co-CEO of your family's enterprise. And let's be frank, not all marriages are idyllic. Disputes arise, personalities clash, and sometimes even infidelity occurs. What sets Viking society apart is the surprisingly progressive nature of its divorce laws. Unlike many Christian societies of the time where divorce was rare and often required the intervention of the church in Viking society, both men and women could initiate divorce. This is a remarkable legal freedom for women in this period. Grounds for divorce varied, but could include things like abuse, neglect, or even something as seemingly trivial as the husband changing his clothing to women's clothes or failing to properly provide for his family. Yes, you heard that right. A man parading around in a dress could be grounds for divorce. Imagine that little domestic squabble. Honey, is that a shift? We need to talk. A woman could declare herself divorced by simply stating her intent in front of witnesses, often at the household door or in the presence of her husband's family. While there might be social repercussions, the legal pathway was relatively clear. This ability to leave an unhappy or abusive marriage offered women a significant degree of protection and agency over their own lives, a stark contrast to the restrictive marital laws in much of medieval Europe. The concept of honor is deeply ingrained in Viking society, and it applies equally to women. Your honor, and by extension your family's honor, is a precious commodity. It dictates your standing in the community, the respect you command, and the trust others place in you. A woman who is honorable is seen as strong, capable, and trustworthy. One who brings dishonor upon her family through infidelity or other transgressions can face severe social ostracism. This emphasis on honor provides both a framework for behavior and a powerful social pressure to conform to societal norms. It also means that offenses against your honor or that of your kin are taken very seriously, sometimes leading to feuds. When it comes to children, they are highly valued in Viking society, seen as a continuation of the family line and a source of labor and support in old age. As a mother, you bear the primary responsibility for their upbringing, instilling in them the values and skills they will need to survive and thrive. You teach your daughters the domestic arts, spinning, weaving, cooking, and managing a household. You teach your sons the skills of the farm, and if applicable, the basics of fighting or seafaring. Infanticide, particularly of children deemed too weak or deformed to survive, was practiced, but once a child was formally acknowledged and given a name at a naming ceremony, they were considered a full member of the family and protected by law. The bond between mother and child is sacred and enduring. Your legal rights, while not equivalent to those of men in all respects, are surprisingly robust. Beyond property and divorce, women could testify in court, although their testimony might carry less weight than a man's. They could also inherit property, especially in the absence of male heirs, and widows often retained significant control over their deceased husband's estates. A widow in particular could wield considerable economic power managing farms, overseeing trade, and even acting as head of her household. This is a far cry from the often marginalized position of widows in many other medieval societies. The role of widows in maintaining family wealth and continuity is a subject of ongoing academic discussion with some scholars, highlighting their economic autonomy and others pointing to the societal pressures to remarry. Consider the role of kinship. In Viking society, your extended family or kin is your primary social safety net and your source of identity. You are defined by your lineage, your connections to a broader network of aunts, uncles, cousins, and in-laws. This web of relationships provides protection, support, and obligations. If a member of your kin is wronged, you are expected to seek justice or compensation. If a family member is in need, you are expected to provide aid. This strong emphasis on kinship means that even if you face personal hardship, you are rarely truly alone. Your family is your shield and your sword in a world that can often be unforgiving. Think about the sheer practicality of these laws. In a society without a strong central government or formal police force, the legal system often relies on self-governance and the collective enforcement of norms by kin groups. The laws concerning women reflect this pragmatism. By granting women property rights and the ability to divorce, the society implicitly acknowledges their essential contribution to the household economy and their need for personal security. It's a system designed for a harsh reality where every able-bodied person is crucial for survival, and individuals need avenues to protect their interests. One small, perhaps humorous anecdote from the sagas might capture the spirit of Viking relationships. There's a tale, perhaps apocryphal, of a woman who divorces her husband because he wears trousers that are too tight. While the literal truth of this particular incident is debated, it illustrates the general principle that women had the right to dissolve a marriage for perceived inadequacies, or even just profound dislike, highlighting a level of individual liberty that was quite rare for the time. Or imagine the scene when your normally stoic husband, after a particularly trying day, fumbles with a spoon and splatters porridge across his beard, leading to a rare but genuine guffaw from you, a momentary break from the serious business of life. Or perhaps when attempting to teach a stubborn thrall how to spin, you resort to an exaggerated comedic demonstration of incompetence just to highlight their poor technique, earning a burst of surprised laughter from onlookers. These small moments of levity are crucial in a demanding world. Your social interactions within the community are governed by a complex set of unwritten rules and expectations. You navigate these with skill and diplomacy, understanding the delicate balance between asserting your rights and maintaining social harmony. You know when to speak your mind and when to hold your tongue. You understand the power of gossip and the importance of reputation. This social intelligence is a key survival skill, allowing you to build alliances, avoid conflicts, and ensure your family's standing. Even in the most remote settlements, there's a constant ebb and flow of people, and with them, the exchange of ideas. You might hear tales of women in distant lands who face vastly different legal and social realities. Women who have no right to property or divorce. These stories, whether true or exaggerated, serve to highlight the relative freedoms you possess within your own society. While life is undoubtedly hard, you live in a world where your individual agency as a woman is in some crucial respects acknowledged and protected by law. So as you lay down your head at night, perhaps next to your husband on the communal sleeping platform, you do so with the understanding that your life, though bound by tradition and duty, is also shaped by a framework of laws that grant you significant protections and freedoms. You are not merely a possession, you are a partner, a property owner, and an individual with rights in a world that against all odds has carved out a unique space for the strength and resilience of its women. The crackle of the hearth fire casts dancing shadows across the longhouse walls, illuminating the intricate carvings on the wooden pillars. Outside, the wind howls a mournful song that seems to carry whispers from unseen realms. For you, a Viking woman, the world isn't just about the tangible tasks of daily life. It's permeated by the spiritual. Your existence is deeply intertwined with the ancient beliefs of your ancestors, a rich tapestry of Norse mythology, and profound spiritual practices that guide your every step from the moment you wake until you close your eyes in slumber. This isn't just abstract theology, it's a living, breathing part of your reality, shaping your worldview, your actions, and your understanding of fate. From childhood, you've learned about the vast cosmic tree Yggdrasil, whose branches stretch through 9 worlds, connecting everything from the realm of the gods Asgard to the frosty land of giants Jotunheim, and of course, your own world Midgard. You know the stories of Odin, the all-father god of wisdom, war, and death, of Thor, the mighty thunderer protector of humanity, and of the beautiful Freya, goddess of love, fertility, war, and death, who claims half of the warriors fallen in battle. These aren't just characters in a tale. They are powerful beings who influence your destiny and whose favor you seek through prayers and offerings. You understand that the gods are not always benevolent. They are reflections of the unpredictable forces of nature and human nature itself, powerful, sometimes capricious, and often demanding. Your daily life is punctuated by small personal acts of devotion. You might offer a libation of ale or milk to the household spirits, the fatir, who are believed to reside in your land and protect your home and farm. You might leave a small portion of your meal near the threshold or a sacred tree, ensuring their continued goodwill. These Vader are not gods, but rather localized spirits of the land, elves, dwarves, and ancestors, whose presence is felt in the rustling leaves, the creaking timbers of the longhouse, or the fertile soil. Maintaining a respectful relationship with them is crucial for the prosperity of your farm and the well-being of your family. You wouldn't dream of building a new structure without first making an offering to the landbetter, lest they become angered and bring misfortune. The cycles of nature are deeply intertwined with your spiritual beliefs. The changing seasons, the fertility of the land, the success of the harvest, all are seen as manifestations of the god's will or the influence of various spirits. You participate in seasonal festivals often centered around planting, harvesting, or honoring specific deities. At Yule, the winter solstice, you join your community in feasting and ritual to welcome the return of the sun and ensure fertility for the coming year. These communal gatherings are not just social events. They are profound spiritual rites reinforcing your connection to the gods, your ancestors, and your community. You understand the concept of wired or fate, a powerful force that shapes the lives of all beings, gods and mortals alike. While word is seen as largely predetermined, there's also a belief that your actions and choices can to some extent influence your path within this framework. Your honor, your courage, your loyalty, these qualities can affect your destiny and your standing in the afterlife. The Norns. 3 powerful female beings are believed to sit at the base of Yggdrasil, weaving the tapestry of fate for all. This understanding of destiny doesn't breed passivity. Rather, it often encourages a fierce determination to live a life of honor and bravery, to leave a legacy that will be remembered. Women in particular hold a special connection to the spiritual realm. Many women are thought to possess Sadur, a form of Norse magic that involves prophecy, divination, and influencing events through rituals. While not every woman practices Sadur, the vulva, or seeress, is a highly respected and sometimes feared figure in Viking society. She travels from settlement to settlement, offering prophecies, interpreting dreams, and performing rituals. You might have seen a vulva arrive in your village, her staff in hand, her eyes distant as she prepares to enter a trance and commune with the spirits. Her words are listened to with great solemnity, as they are believed to be messages from the gods themselves. This association of women with powerful magic gives you an innate spiritual authority that is widely acknowledged. Archaeological evidence, such as staffs and certain grave goods, has fueled academic discussions about the historical reality and social role of Volur, with scholars exploring whether they were primarily religious figures or also held political influence. Death is not the end, but a transition. You believe in various afterlives depending on how one lived and died. Warriors might hope to join Odin in Valhalla or Freya in Folkvanger. For most, the afterlife might be in the shadowy realm of Hel, ruled by Loki's daughter. The burial rituals are significant. You participate in preparing the deceased, dressing them in their finest clothes, and placing them in their grave with personal possessions that they might need in the next life. Jewelry, tools, sometimes even their animals. The grave mound itself becomes a sacred space, a link between the living and the dead, and a place where you might offer prayers to your ancestors. You understand that your ancestors are not truly gone. Their spirits remain watching over you and sometimes intervening in your life. Honoring them is paramount, as their wisdom and protection can be vital. The power of runes is also part of your spiritual landscape. While men often inscribed runes for public purposes, such as on memorial stones, women might use them for more personal or domestic applications, for healing, for protection, or for divination. You might see small runic charms carved into household items, or perhaps a loved one wears a pendant with a protective rune. Understanding the meaning and power of these ancient symbols adds another layer to your spiritual world, connecting you to an even older tradition. Superstition, or perhaps a healthy respect for the unseen, permeates your daily life. You might avoid cutting your nails indoors, fearing it could invite trolls. You might wear an amulet to ward off evil spirits or invoke the protection of a god. The natural world is alive with spirits and hidden forces, in the trees and the stones and the waters. You learn to read the signs to understand the omens and to live in harmony with these powerful, often invisible presences. This constant awareness of the spiritual dimension makes your world feel vibrant and full of meaning, even amidst the hardships. Consider a moment of quiet reflection, perhaps while spinning yarn by the fire. You might be contemplating the cyclical nature of life, the way the seasons turn, the way your own life mirrors the ebb and flow of the harvest. You understand that life is finite, but the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is eternal. This deep connection to the natural world, infused with spiritual meaning, provides a sense of grounding and purpose. It's a profound connection that transcends the mundane tasks of your day. The arrival of Christianity on the fringes of your world is a curious, sometimes unsettling development. You might hear whispers of a new God, a single, all-powerful deity who died on a cross and promises eternal life in a heaven that sounds very different from Valhalla. Merchants from distant lands might wear small cross pendants, and sometimes a thrall might speak of the White Christ. This new religion, with its emphasis on sin and salvation, feels alien to your polytheistic beliefs, which embrace a pantheon of gods with human-like flaws and virtues. Scholars have long debated the exact nature and timing of the conversion process in various Viking regions, noting that it was often a gradual syncretic blending of old and new beliefs rather than an abrupt shift. You might witness individuals, perhaps those who have traveled widely, adopting aspects of this new faith, even while still honoring the old gods. It's a slow, quiet cultural shift that will eventually transform your world, but for now, it's just a murmur on the wind. Imagine for a fleeting moment the unexpected burst of laughter during a solemn offering. Perhaps a child not yet fully understanding the gravity of the ritual points at a particularly plump chicken intended for sacrifice and shouts, "Look, mother, that chicken winked," disrupting the serious mood and prompting a shared, albeit quickly stifled, chuckle from the adults. Or maybe when attempting to interpret a particularly cryptic dream, you accidentally knock over a small carved idol, sending it tumbling with a clatter, making you jump and then laugh at your own clumsiness. These small moments of human fallibility, even within the sacred, highlight the grounded reality of your spiritual practices. And when, after a long period of uncertainty, a ritual for a good harvest seems to yield results, you experience a quiet, almost smug satisfaction, a tiny internal victory that affirms your faith and the power of your connection to the unseen forces. So as you go about your daily tasks, milking the cows, tending the fire, weaving the cloth, you are constantly aware of the spiritual dimensions that underpin your existence. The gods are watching, the spirits of the land are listening, and the fate woven by the Norns is unfolding. Your life is a continuous conversation with these unseen forces, a journey guided by ancient wisdom, and a profound connection to the sacred. The familiar scent of wood smoke and simmering stew fills your longhouse, a comforting constant in your life. Yet even in this domestic tranquility, the distant echoes of war are never truly absent. While the popular image of a Viking Age woman might not involve a shield and an axe, your life is inextricably linked to the vast expeditions and conflicts that define this era. You experience war not on the battlefield, but as a woman left behind, shouldering the immense burden of managing the home and community, enduring long absences, and grappling with the profound uncertainty of whether your loved ones will ever return. Imagine a crisp autumn morning, the air still and cold. The men of your village, including your husband and older sons, gather down by the fjord. The clanking of weaponry, the low murmur of voices, and the final farewells fill the air. A long ship, sleek and powerful, bobs impatiently on the water, its single square sail furled tight. This is a scene you've witnessed many times. They are off on an expedition, perhaps a raiding journey for plunder, a trading voyage to distant lands, or even a retaliatory strike against a rival chieftain. As they push off from shore rowing with powerful strokes, you watch them go, a knot of anxiety tightening in your stomach. Your heart is heavy, but your face remains stoic. Displays of weakness are a luxury you cannot afford, especially not in front of your children or the remaining members of the community. With the men gone, your responsibilities multiply exponentially. You become in essence the temporary head of the household, taking on duties that would normally fall to your husband. This means overseeing the farm, managing the thralls, ensuring the security of your property, and making all the day-to-day decisions crucial for survival. The farm still needs tending. The animals still need feeding, and the children still need raising. There's no pause button on life simply because the men are away. If anything, the pace quickens and the burden of responsibility weighs heavier. You learn to make quick, decisive choices, to delegate tasks effectively, and to solve problems independently. This period of absence, while fraught with worry, often hones your leadership skills and reinforces your indispensable role within the family unit. The constant underlying fear is, of course, the unknown. Will they return? Will they bring back wealth and glory, or will they only bring news of death and loss? Every distant sail on the horizon sends a jolt through your heart. Is it them? Or is it a rival raiding party arriving to take advantage of the village's reduced defenses? This gnawing uncertainty is a perpetual companion during these long absences. You might gather with other women in the community, sharing your anxieties, offering comfort, and finding strength in collective resilience. The women left behind form a powerful support network, helping each other with tasks, sharing news, and simply being there for one another through the long, lonely nights. While you are managing the home front, the men are encountering new cultures, new technologies, and new forms of warfare. They might bring back exotic goods, silver from Anglo-Saxon churches, intricately crafted jewelry from Ireland, or even new ideas and beliefs from distant lands. But they also bring back stories, grim tales of fierce battles, of comrades lost, and of the violence inherent in their way of life. These stories filter into your world, shaping your understanding of the wider, often brutal world beyond your fjord. You hear of foreign kings and queens, of strange customs, and of different ways of worshiping gods. This broadens your worldview, even if you never leave your homeland. The impact of raiding on your community is complex. On one hand, it can bring immense wealth, silver slaves, and valuable goods that enhance your family's prosperity and status. This wealth can improve your quality of life, allowing you to acquire better tools, more comfortable clothing, or even build a larger, more impressive longhouse. On the other hand, it comes at a terrible cost. Not only is there the constant risk of losing your loved ones, but there's also the moral ambiguity of living off the spoils of plunder. You might find yourself dressing in garments taken from a distant monastery, or seeing thralls brought into your home who speak a foreign tongue and carry the weight of unimaginable loss. Academics continue to debate the ethical dimensions of Viking Age raiding from various perspectives, with some emphasizing the economic necessity and others the brutal human cost. This complex reality is something you simply accept, a part of the world you inhabit. You might also be directly affected by defensive warfare. If your village is attacked perhaps by a rival chieftain or a retaliatory force from a raided land, you are expected to contribute to its defense. While primarily the men's role, women and older children would help secure the longhouse, tend to the wounded, or even throw stones in boiling water from the safety of the walls if the settlement has fortifications. Your primary role is to protect your children and the household's most valuable possessions, ensuring their survival. The fear of being captured and enslaved is a very real threat, making self-defense and community cohesion paramount. The return of the longship is always a moment of intense emotion. You scan the faces on board, searching for your loved ones. The joy and relief when they step ashore weary but alive is immense. But sometimes there's grief. Empty spaces where familiar faces should be. the hushed whispers of loss, the quiet mourning for those who will never return. You participate in the somber rituals for the fallen, tending to the injured and offering comfort to the newly widowed. This cycle of departure anxiety and often bittersweet return is a recurring theme in your life. Beyond the grand expeditions, there are also the constant smaller skirmishes that characterize life in a fractured tribal society. Disputes over land, livestock, or honor can quickly escalate into feuds between families or clans. While men might be the ones wielding axes and spears, women often play a crucial role in mediating these conflicts, seeking blood money vergil to avert further violence, or even urging their male relatives to pursue vengeance. Your voice, though not always public, can carry significant weight in these matters, as you are a key stakeholder in the family's honor and long-term well-being. Consider the psychological toll of this constant exposure to the shadows of war. The casual brutality, the sudden shifts from peace to violence, the perpetual uncertainty. Yet you develop a resilience, a pragmatic acceptance of the world as it is. You find strength in your work, in your family, and in the unwavering support of your community. You learn to live in the present, to cherish the moments of peace and prosperity, knowing that they can be fleeting. One of the more poignant aspects of this life is the constant process of adaptation. As a raiding culture, the Vikings often brought back thralls slaves from their expeditions. These thralls, often women and children, might be from distant lands, speaking strange languages and holding different beliefs. As the mistress of the household, you are responsible for integrating them into your domestic sphere, teaching them the language and customs of your people and assigning them their tasks. This interaction exposes you to other cultures firsthand, albeit in a morally complex way. You might learn snatches of their languages, hear fragments of their stories, and witness their struggles. It's a sobering reminder of the harsh realities of your world, where the fortunes of war can swiftly change. Perhaps in a moment of unexpected connection, you discover a shared lullaby with a captured thrall, a fleeting bond forged through the universal language of motherhood. Or maybe when attempting to communicate a simple task, you resort to exaggerated pantomime, resulting in a comical misunderstanding that momentarily eases the tension between you and a newly arrived thrall. Or consider the dry humor of realizing that your husband, home from a raid, complains more about a splinter in his finger than the arrow wound in his shoulder, making you roll your eyes with a fond, weary smile. The stories of female warriors, the legendary shield maidens, are captivating. While the sagas certainly depict such figures and archaeological finds occasionally hint at women buried with weapons, these instances are likely rare and often subject to scholarly debate. Archaeological evidence for female warriors is sparse and often ambiguous, with most scholars concluding that while women might have defended their homes, their primary role was not as battlefield combatants. Your experience of war is far more common, the steadfast, unwavering strength of a woman who keeps the home fires burning, who nurtures the next generation, and who maintains the very fabric of society while the men are away. This is your brand of courage, equally vital and often overlooked. So as night falls and the longhouse settles into a quiet hum, you reflect on the day. The world outside may be chaotic, filled with the distant echoes of battle and plunder, but within your walls you maintain order, nurture life, and embody the enduring strength of your people. Your role in war, though often unseen, is profoundly impactful, a testament to the resilience and unwavering spirit of the Viking woman. The rhythmic creak of timbers, the slap of waves against the hull, and the salty spray on your face. These are the sensations that define your world as you embark on a fateful journey across the vast, unpredictable seas. While the popular image of a Viking voyage is often dominated by male warriors and explorers, you, a Viking woman, are an essential part of these daring expeditions. You are not just a passenger, you are a colonist, a homemaker on the move, playing a crucial role in establishing new settlements across distant, often inhospitable lands. This isn't a mere adventure, it's a momentous undertaking, a leap into the unknown driven by ambition, necessity, and the promise of new beginnings. Imagine crowding onto a Nara broad-beamed cargo ship, distinct from the slender, swift longships used for raiding. This vessel is designed for capacity, not speed, laden with everything necessary to start a new life, livestock, tools, provisions, and, of course, your entire family. The air is thick with the smell of animals' damp wool and the nervous anticipation of those on board. You huddle with your children, protecting them from the biting wind and the relentless rocking of the ship. The journey itself is an ordeal. Days turn into weeks, and the endless expanse of the ocean stretches out before you, a terrifying and awe-inspiring sight. Storms can brew quickly, turning the relatively sturdy Nar into a toy tossed by furious waves, threatening to capsize you all. You cling to the timbers, offering silent prayers to Njord, god of the sea, for safe passage. Seasickness is a constant companion for many, adding to the misery. Your role on board is crucial. You help manage the limited fresh water and food supplies, ensuring they last for the entire journey. You tend to the animals, calming them during rough seas and ensuring they remain healthy. You care for the children, keeping them occupied, safe, and as comfortable as possible in the cramped conditions. You mend torn sails and broken ropes with a practical efficiency honed by years of domestic craftsmanship. The communal nature of these voyages means everyone contributes, and your skills as a homemaker become invaluable assets in the challenging maritime environment. As the weeks drag on, the monotony can be as challenging as the storms. Days bleed into one another, marked only by the shifting light and the ceaseless motion of the waves. You might pass the time spinning wool with a drop spindle, singing old sagas to your children, or simply watching the horizon, hoping for the first glimpse of land. The stars become your nighttime compass and the sun your guide by day. Navigation relies on accumulated knowledge of currents, winds, and celestial bodies passed down through generations of seafaring Vikings. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the cry of land rings out. Relief, exhaustion, and a fresh wave of anticipation wash over you. The sight of a new coastline, often rugged and forested, is both a promise and a challenge. This isn't a land of easy living, it's a wild, untamed frontier. You are likely heading to places like Iceland, Greenland, or even Vinland, North America, where the conditions are harsh and survival will depend on every ounce of your resilience and ingenuity. The moment you step ashore is pivotal. This is not a temporary camp. This is where you will build a new home, a new life. As the men begin to scout the area for resources and suitable building sites, you, along with the other women, start the immediate tasks of establishing a rudimentary camp. Fires are lit, shelters are erected, and the first meager meals are prepared from the provisions you've carried across the ocean. The air is filled with the sounds of axes felling trees, the cries of children exploring new surroundings, and the determined chatter of adults planning their future. Your experience in managing a household is immediately put to the test. You're responsible for setting up the domestic infrastructure of the new settlement. This means identifying sources of fresh water, establishing a safe place for the animals, and perhaps even beginning to cultivate a small garden plot with seeds you've brought from home. You oversee the unloading and storage of supplies, ensuring that precious resources are protected from the elements and potential scavengers. The sheer scale of work required to transform a wilderness into a habitable settlement is immense, and your contribution is fundamental. The construction of the first permanent longhouse is a communal effort, but your role in its planning and furnishing is critical. You understand the practicalities of living in such a structure, advising on the placement of the hearth, the layout of sleeping platforms, and the efficient use of space. Once the basic structure is complete, you are responsible for making it a home, laying out furs, organizing tools, and preparing the first proper meals within its newly built walls. It's a daunting task, but one you approach with a pragmatic determination. Life in these new settlements is often even harder than in your homeland. The soil might be less fertile, the climate more extreme, and the resources scarcer. You face unknown challenges, new diseases, unfamiliar predators, and potential conflicts with the indigenous populations such as the Skraelings encountered in Vinland. You must learn quickly, adapting your traditional skills to the new environment. This might involve experimenting with new crops, learning new foraging techniques, or discovering local plants with medicinal properties. Your ability to adapt and innovate is essential for the survival of the entire community. Consider the isolation. You are thousands of miles from your ancestral home, separated by a vast ocean. News travels slowly, if at all. This forces the community to become incredibly self-reliant, fostering a deep sense of interdependence. You rely on your neighbors and they rely on you. The bonds of kinship and community become even stronger in these isolated outposts, as collective effort is the only path to survival. One of the less visible but profoundly important roles you play is in maintaining cultural continuity. In a new land cut off from the traditions of the old, it is often the women who ensure that the stories, songs, and customs of your people are passed down to the next generation. You teach your children the sagas, the genealogies, and the values of your Viking heritage. You maintain the household rituals, ensuring that the gods and spirits are honored in this new environment. This cultural preservation is vital for maintaining identity and a sense of belonging in a foreign land. Scholars often highlight the critical role of women in the transmission of cultural knowledge and identity, particularly in diaspora communities. The very act of raising children in these frontier settlements is an act of courage and optimism. You are not just nurturing individuals, you are nurturing the future of your community in a harsh, uncertain world. Each birth is a triumph, each child a testament to the enduring spirit of your people. You teach them resilience, resourcefulness, and the unyielding will to survive. Imagine the quiet pride you feel when the first harvest from your new land is brought in, perhaps a meager crop of barley, but enough to offer a taste of self-sufficiency. Or the moment you hear your child born in this new land, recount an ancient saga, perfectly a clear echo of your homeland carried across the ocean. Perhaps during a particularly trying time when the food stores are low and spirits are flagging, you accidentally trip while carrying a bucket of water, spilling it everywhere. The frustration is immediate, but then your neighbors seeing your plight rush to help, and a shared moment of exasperated laughter breaks the tension, reminding you of the vital bonds that sustain you. And then there's the chuckle when your husband, after weeks of grumbling about the cold, tries to make a grand pronouncement about the future of the settlement, only to be interrupted by the loud bleating of a goat, perfectly timed for comedic effect. The sagas, particularly those concerning the settlement of Iceland and Greenland, often feature strong, determined women who are central to the narratives of colonization. They are depicted as pragmatic, resourceful, and often holding significant influence within their new communities. While these accounts are literary, they reflect a societal recognition of the essential role women played in these grand migrations. You are not simply following your men. You are actively participating in the expansion of your world, literally laying the foundations for new societies. So as you look out at the newly cleared land, perhaps seeing the first sprouts of crops emerging from the soil, or the smoke rising from a newly built longhouse, you understand the magnitude of your undertaking. You are a pioneer, a settler, a woman whose courage and resilience have allowed your people to reach new horizons and establish new homes. The journey was long and arduous, but the promise of a new life built by your own hands makes every hardship worthwhile. The sun, a fiery disk in the vast northern sky, casts long shadows across the uneven ground as you go about your duties. You live in a society that, while appearing to be dominated by powerful chieftains and legendary warriors, occasionally reveals stories of women who transcended conventional roles, leaving a surprising mark of power and prestige. These aren't common tales, no, but they serve as powerful reminders that capability, intellect, and sheer force of will could, for a select few, carve out a path to influence that defied typical expectations. Your world, though often pragmatic, held space for the exceptional. Imagine hearing hushed whispers about a Völva, a seeress from a distant settlement. She is not merely a wise woman. She is a figure of immense spiritual authority whose pronouncements are listened to by chieftains and common folk alike. You might recall the awe-inspiring sight of such a woman, perhaps during a rare communal gathering dressed in an unusual symbolic attire, carrying a staff that seems to hum with unseen power. She enters a trance, her voice changing as she divines the future or offers cryptic counsel from the gods. Her power lies not in physical strength, but in her direct connection to the spiritual realm, her ability to interpret omens, and her knowledge of ancient magic cedar. Kings consult her before battle, farmers seek her advice for a bountiful harvest, and families implore her to lift curses or bless their undertakings. This innate spiritual power grants her a unique form of social and political leverage, making her a formidable figure in a world where the unseen is as real as the tangible. Her words, though sometimes unsettling, carry the weight of destiny, a force that even the most hardened warrior respects. Then there are the stories often recounted in the sagas of chieftainesses or wealthy landowners who wielded significant economic and social power. While such instances are rare, they are not unheard of. Consider a widow who, upon her husband's death, inherits and successfully manages a vast estate, complete with thralls, livestock, and trading networks. Her knowledge of farming trade routes and household management is unparalleled. She commands respect not because of her husband's legacy alone, but because of her own acumen and strength of character. She might even preside over local disputes her judgment sought and respected, or host lavish feasts that solidify alliances with neighboring clans. Her longhouse becomes a hub of activity, a testament to her administrative prowess and leadership. Scholars continue to analyze the historical accuracy of saga depictions of powerful female figures, attempting to distinguish between literary idealization and actual social roles, but the consistent presence of such characters suggests a cultural acknowledgement of female leadership potential. You might also encounter women who, through their exceptional skills in trade and commerce, amassed considerable wealth and influence. Perhaps a woman from a prominent merchant family skilled in languages and negotiation directly participates in long-distance trading voyages, personally overseeing the exchange of goods in foreign lands. She understands the markets, the value of different commodities, and the intricacies of international relations. Her success brings not only riches but also respect and recognition for her shrewdness and daring. She might not wear armor, but her mind is as sharp as any blade and her strategic thinking as vital as any battle plan. Consider the power held by the mistress of the household, the Husfreya, who controls the keys to the family's provisions and treasures. This might seem like a small detail, but it symbolizes her undisputed authority over the domestic economy. She decides how resources are allocated, how wealth is managed, and how the household operates. In an agrarian society where the home is the primary unit of production, this control translates into immense practical power. She ensures the family's survival, manages its wealth, and maintains its social standing through careful stewardship and effective administration. Her influence is quiet, perhaps, but foundational. There are also instances of women who became renowned for their knowledge of runes or their skills as poets, skalds. Runes were more than just an alphabet. They were believed to possess magical properties, and their inscription was a sacred art. A woman who mastered runic lore could create powerful charms, commemorate events, or even send messages imbued with spiritual significance. Similarly, a female skald, capable of composing intricate poetry filled with complex metaphors and allusions to mythology, would be highly valued. Her words could immortalize heroes, praise chieftains, or mock enemies, influencing reputations and shaping public opinion. This intellectual and artistic power, though less visible than a warrior's might, could be equally potent. The concept of honor and reputation is intrinsically linked to power in Viking society. A woman of strong character, known for her wisdom, generosity, and resilience, commands respect. Her opinions are sought, her advice is heeded, and her presence lends weight to any gathering. This social capital, built over a lifetime of honorable conduct, can be a powerful tool, allowing her to influence decisions and protect her family's interests even without holding a formal position of authority. Her voice might be quiet, but her influence can be far-reaching, like a ripple across a still fjord. One particularly striking, if rare, instance of female power that might bring a grim chuckle is the saga account of Gudrun Osvifursdottir from Laxdæla Saga. After a series of dramatic events including multiple marriages and tragedies, she is said to have encouraged her sons to avenge her perceived wrongs, acting as a driving force behind a bloody family feud. While not a warrior herself, her emotional and psychological power over her family, her unyielding will for justice or vengeance, demonstrates a profound ability to shape events. You might overhear a story about her told with a mix of awe and trepidation, a testament to a woman who, despite societal norms, made her will known in a very impactful way. Or consider the moment a stern matriarchal figure in your own village, notorious for her sharp wit, accidentally sits on a freshly baked flatbread during a communal meal, resulting in a collective gasp, followed by a wave of nervous, quickly suppressed laughter. A reminder that even the most powerful can have an ungraceful moment. or perhaps when attempting to impress a visiting dignitary with your impeccable weaving, a thread snaps leading to a quick, almost imperceptible eye roll before you deftly fix it a tiny private moment of exasperation that only you witness. It's important to remember that these examples of female power and prestige are exceptions, not the rule. Most women like you spent their lives within the domestic sphere diligently performing the tasks necessary for survival. However, the very existence of these stories, whether historical or legendary, reveals a crucial aspect of Viking society, a pragmatic willingness to recognize and value capability regardless of gender when it served the interests of the family or community. It wasn't about abstract ideals, it was about what worked, about who could lead, who could manage, and who could bring prosperity or protect honor. Academic discourse on the exceptional woman in Viking society explores whether these figures represent genuine opportunities for female ascendancy or are primarily archetypes reflecting societal values and literary conventions. So, as you reflect on the strength and influence of the women around you, your mother, your grandmother, perhaps a particularly capable neighbor, you understand that power takes many forms. It isn't always wielded with an axe or proclaimed from a chieftain's seat. Sometimes it is found in the wisdom of a seeress, the shrewdness of a merchant, the unwavering authority of a husfreyja, or the quiet determination of a woman who shapes her family's destiny. In the Viking Age, the threads of power were woven into a tapestry far richer and more complex than meets the eye, allowing a select few women to truly shine. The familiar scent of damp earth and aging timbers fills your nostrils as you awaken another day dawning in your longhouse. You glance at the children still nestled in their furs, and a sense of profound continuity settles over you. Your life, though unwritten by history and the grand narratives of kings and battles, leaves an indelible mark. It echoes in the sagas those epic tales of your ancestors, and it speaks volumes through the silent but eloquent testimony of the archaeological record. Your very existence, your daily labor, your choices, and your resilience are woven into the fabric of this enduring legacy. Consider the sagas, those sprawling literary masterpieces composed centuries after the Viking Age, but rooted in the oral traditions that you as a woman helped to preserve. While often focused on the deeds of men, chieftains, warriors, and explorers, they are remarkably rich in their portrayal of women. You hear stories of women like Gudrun Osvifar's daughter, whom we chuckled about earlier with the vengeance, a figure of immense psychological depth and agency, who manipulates, strategizes, and drives the narrative forward through her will and her influence over her male relatives. Or Odd the Deep-Minded, a remarkable woman who, after her husband and son died, secretly built a Nar, gathered her family and followers, and sailed to Iceland, where she established a new settlement and became a powerful matriarch. These sagas, while fictionalized and embellished, reflect a societal recognition of women's strength, their cunning, their steadfastness, and their pivotal roles in family affairs feuds and even migrations. They highlight that a woman's power often lay in her intellect, her ability to inspire loyalty, and her unyielding determination qualities that resonated deeply within Viking society. Scholarly analysis of saga literature often explores the degree to which these female characters represent historical realities versus societal ideals or literary constructs, but their consistent portrayal as strong, active figures is undeniable. But the sagas are not your only legacy. Far more tangible are the whispers from the earth itself, the archaeological record. Every day as you go about your tasks, you are leaving behind traces that future generations will unearth and interpret. Imagine centuries from now, scholars digging through the layers of earth where your longhouse once stood will find the spindle whorls you used to spin wool, the loom weights that anchored your warp threads, and the fragments of the fabric you so painstakingly wove. These aren't just household items. They are direct evidence of your ceaseless labor, your skill as an artisan, and your fundamental contribution to the family economy. Each discarded bone fragment tells a story of the meals you prepared, each piece of broken pottery, a testament to the vessels you used daily. Your domestic life, often seen as mundane, is the very stuff of history for those who come after. The graves are perhaps the most intimate and poignant windows into your life. When a woman like you is laid to rest, she is often buried with grave goods that reflect her status, her skills, and her beliefs. Imagine your own burial. Your two distinctive oval brooches, perhaps made of bronze or silver, fastening your overdress, would be found at your shoulders. These brooches are iconic markers of a Viking woman's burial, revealing not just her gender, but also her wealth and regional style. Beside you might be found a knife, an ever-present tool, or a set of keys, symbolizing your authority as the Husfreyja, the mistress of the household and keeper of its treasures. Perhaps a distaff or a spindle is placed beside you, a silent acknowledgement of your textile prowess, or a collection of beads indicating your taste for adornment, or perhaps even your involvement in trade. These artifacts are not merely possessions. They are symbols of your identity, your accomplishments, and your essential role in your community. They are your unspoken biography. Consider the humble bead. You might wear a string of glass amber or carnelian beads around your neck. Some perhaps acquired through trade from distant lands. Each bead, however small, represents a tiny thread in the vast network of Viking trade, a testament to the connections that linked your isolated community to a wider world. These beads speak of journeys taken, goods exchanged, and the desire for beauty and personal adornment, even in a challenging environment. They are a universal language of human connection and material culture, speaking volumes about your place within the larger Viking economy. The settlement patterns themselves are a legacy you contribute to. Every time a longhouse is built, every field is cleared, every well is dug, you are actively shaping the landscape and leaving an enduring imprint. The choices you make about where to settle, how to organize your farm, and how to utilize the local resources all contribute to the archaeological narrative of your community. Future generations will study these patterns, tracing the very footprint of your daily life and understanding how you adapted to and transformed the environment around you. Even the food waste, the middens, or rubbish heaps tell a story. Archaeologists meticulously sift through these discarded remnants of your meals, animal bones, fish scales, plant remains, to reconstruct your diet, your hunting and fishing practices, and even the health of your community. These seemingly insignificant discards are invaluable data points, revealing the rhythm of your consumption and the resources you relied upon for survival. They are a testament to your endless efforts in providing sustenance for your family, a quiet echo of countless meals prepared. And your children, of course, are your most vibrant and direct legacy. They carry your blood, your knowledge, your stories, and your values into the next generation. The lessons you teach them, the skills you impart, the stories you tell them by the firelight, all of this ensures the continuation of your family, your culture, and your traditions. They are living archives of your influence, embodying the wisdom and resilience you have cultivated throughout your life. Their existence is the most profound testament to your enduring impact. Think about a small, intimate moment that might leave no trace in history books but is deeply significant to your daily life. Perhaps while showing your young daughter how to hold a spindle, your hand gently guides hers, a silent transfer of generations of knowledge. Or maybe while listening to an elder recount an ancient saga, you notice a young boy's eyes wide with wonder, captivated by the lore you helped preserve. Or perhaps when attempting to gather a particularly stubborn and vocal chicken for dinner, you engage in a comical chase that ends with you, triumphant but slightly disheveled, earning a quiet, amused smirk from your husband. These small, shared human moments, though, fleeting, are the threads that weave the rich tapestry of your personal and familial legacy. So as you drift off to sleep, perhaps listening to the distant waves or the gentle breathing of your sleeping family, know that your life, though seemingly ordinary, is far from insignificant. Every stitch you sew, every meal you cook, every story you tell, every child you raise, all of it contributes to the vast, intricate legacy of the Viking Age. Your strength, your resilience, and your unwavering spirit are not just personal traits. They are fundamental elements of a remarkable civilization, etched into the earth and whispered through the ages. The familiar chill of the northern air, once a constant companion, seems to carry a new note now. A whisper of change, a subtle shift in the winds of fate. As the Viking Age, your age, begins to draw to its inexorable close, your world transforms. It's not an abrupt end like the sudden fall of a mighty chieftain, but a gradual fading, a slow melding of old ways with new. Your life, intertwined with the destiny of your people, witnesses the subtle yet profound unraveling of a golden era, leaving behind a legacy of strength, resilience, and an enduring spirit that will resonate for centuries to come. Imagine the subtle signs you begin to notice. The trading ships that arrive in your fjord now carry not just the familiar amber and furs, but also more Christian symbols, small crucifixes worn openly by merchants not hidden away. The thralls brought back from raids sometimes speak of new laws of a single god and of a different kind of authority emanating from distant kingdoms. You might hear whispers of chieftains once fiercely independent, now converting to this white Christ to gain political alliances or access to richer trade routes. It's a pragmatic choice, perhaps, but one that slowly chips away at the ancient beliefs that have guided your people for generations. The familiar gods Odin and Thor still hold sway in your heart and home, but their dominance in the wider world is beginning to wane. The very nature of raiding begins to change. The easy targets are fewer, the resistance stronger. Kingdoms once fragmented are now consolidating building armies and fortifications that make hit-and-run tactics less profitable and far more dangerous. The focus shifts from opportunistic plunder to more structured trade and settlement. Your men, instead of sailing for silver, might now embark on longer, more dedicated trading voyages, establishing permanent commercial outposts in places like Dublin or York. This shift, while reducing the constant fear of losing loved ones to battle, also alters the very fabric of your society, replacing the warrior's glory with the merchant's shrewdness. It's a calmer existence in some ways, but perhaps less thrilling, less steeped in the heroic ideal that defined your ancestors. The political landscape is in flux. Over time, the scattered chieftaincies that characterized your world begin to consolidate into larger, more centralized kingdoms. Kings, often advised by Christian missionaries, exert greater control over their territories, imposing new laws and taxes. The traditional thing, the communal assembly where disputes were settled and laws made, might still exist, but its authority begins to be overshadowed by the power of the burgeoning monarchy. This means less autonomy for individual communities and a greater reliance on a distant ruler. Your local customs and laws, which granted women certain rights concerning property and divorce, might slowly be eroded or absorbed into a broader legal framework, inspired by continental European models which often offered women fewer freedoms. Scholarly debate continues regarding the precise impact of Christianization and state formation on the legal status and social roles of women in Viking Age societies, with some arguing for a decline in female autonomy, while others suggest a more nuanced adaptation. Think of the land itself. The most fertile lands in your homeland are increasingly settled and divided. The easy opportunities for expansion are gone. This population pressure is one of the key drivers behind the earlier waves of emigration to Iceland, Greenland, and beyond. But even these frontier settlements eventually face their own limitations. The quest for new land, once a boundless aspiration, becomes a finite resource. This shift encourages greater intensity in farming, more efficient use of existing resources, and perhaps a deeper connection to the land you already inhabit. The longhouses themselves begin to transform. While the basic structure remains, you might notice subtle changes. Perhaps the hearth is moved closer to one end, or new outbuildings appear, signifying a more specialized division of labor on the farm. The artifacts found in graves also change over time. While your oval brooches might remain, you might start to see crucifixes alongside Mjolnir pendants, or simpler, less overtly pagan grave goods. The material culture reflects the slow but steady encroachment of new ideas and customs. The role of women, while still central to the household, might also evolve. As trade becomes more formalized and towns grow, new opportunities and new constraints emerge. You might see women participating in urban markets, selling their wares, or running taverns. Yet the traditional emphasis on a woman's control over her dowry and her ability to initiate divorce, while not entirely disappearing, might face challenges from evolving legal systems influenced by Christian tenets, which often emphasized indissoluble marriage and male headship. The shift is subtle, not immediate, but present. The stories you tell your children also begin to blend. While the sagas of your ancestors remain vital, you might also hear tales of saints and miracles, stories brought by returning travelers or Christian missionaries. The pantheon of gods begins to recede, replaced by the singular omnipotent Christian God. This shift in spiritual worldview is perhaps the most profound change of all, fundamentally altering the way your people understand their place in the cosmos. their morality, and their destiny. It's a gradual, often syncretic process where old traditions linger alongside new beliefs, creating a rich but complex spiritual tapestry. Consider a moment that perfectly encapsulates this quiet transition. Perhaps you're sitting by the hearth, spinning wool, and your young grandson approaches proudly displaying a small wooden cross he's been given by a visiting Christian priest. He asks you about it, his eyes wide with curiosity, and you find yourself struggling to explain how it fits into the world of Odin and Thor, a gentle, almost humorous clash of old and new beliefs. Or maybe when attempting to teach a new, more complex weaving pattern, you find yourself struggling with a particularly stubborn knot, muttering an old, forgotten curse under your breath, only to realize your granddaughter is mimicking your precise movements with an almost unsettling accuracy, reminding you of the enduring power of inherited knowledge. Or you might share a wry smile with your neighbor as you both notice the young men of the village eager to adopt the latest fashion, attempting to pull on trousers far too tight, a silent acknowledgement that some things like uncomfortable fashion choices never truly change. The end of the Viking Age is not a defeat, it is an evolution. The adventurous spirit, the entrepreneurial drive, and the fierce independence that defined your people do not vanish. Instead, they are channeled into new forms, the establishment of powerful trading networks, the formation of stable kingdoms, and the integration into the broader European sphere. Your descendants will become the founders of nations, the architects of new legal systems, and the inheritors of a rich cultural legacy. As you reach the twilight of your own life, you look back at a world that has seen incredible change. You have lived through an era of daring voyages, of fierce battles, of remarkable innovation, and of profound shifts in belief. You have contributed to it all through your relentless labor, your unwavering strength, your wisdom, and your enduring spirit. Your hands, once busy with the tasks of survival, now perhaps tremble slightly, but they carry the indelible marks of a life well lived, a life that shaped not just a family, but an entire civilization. The quiet hum of the longhouse, the distant call of the gulls, the soft glow of the embers. These are the final comforting echoes of a remarkable age.